don't even know how to do the intro anymore. Hello, Attactioneers. Welcome to the Attack Action Podcast. I figured it out, and I'm your host, Taylor Morrow. I'm here with Blake and Zane. Zane, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing awesome. I have just a lot to say about my life and Flesh and Blood, but we'll get to all of that very soon. Blake, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I could not be more excited for tonight's episode, and it's going to be one of the most positive ones you've ever seen.
Or heard.
Do you see what happens when you give Reinar one card?
His whole persona is just way different. Yeah. He's just been waking up.
I wrote that in all capital letters in our lead up follow up. We just to pull back the curtain a bit. We have a Google document that we write stuff in, and the very first thing I wrote in was Splatter School in full capital letters, and it was colored orange because that's the color code of me writing.
Sick. People love that. They're journaling about that tidbit of lore, like, okay, they used Google Docs. Got it. Blake,
I'm just surprised.
Orange.
I'm surprised that Splatter Skull didn't have Decompose on it to try and get Reinar's hero power going or something. You know, the Earth Brutes that should come in the set, or maybe Terra. Terra has a evil opponent of a Earth Brute in the first Armory deck, where that's a brand new hero. I'm not even making sense. Jeez. What a day. I've been up for about 5 hours today, man. And it's because of the earthquake that threw me off so much, because there was a 4.7 strength earthquake, but the epicenter was 5 miles away in South Pasadena. And it was crazy because, like, normally when you have an earthquake, it was like, I looked at my light switch and it looked like a spider, and I was like, oh shit, but it was my light switch. It was like the peripheral. Usually when you're in an earthquake, you're like, is that an earthquake? But this one was legitimately the most violent shake. I got out of my bed immediately and ran to outdoors into my driveway, where hopefully no trees would fall on me.
And you live to tell the tale. Thank God.
I'm here today.
Great job.
No trees fell.
No trees. No Decompose.
How fast did you run? Or did
Probably,
you did you saunter and be like, okay? Or were you like, you know, if there was an old woman and a child in the way, you would have just stiff
pulled them
armed
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
When there's an earthquake happening, you're not your best self, I don't think. It's every Blake for them.
Don't even get me started on earthquakes. We had a really bad one last winter or 2 winters ago, and it was traumatizing, to say the least.
I thought that was a flood. What all kinds of bad shit happens to you?
Dude.
Chain metas, floods, earthquakes.
It's not
what the
good.
hell, man?
Not good. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to relive that. That's in 4 months when that goes down.
Well, how about episode 96 then?
Episode 96. Here we are. We're gonna talk about like a hodgepodge worth of stuff, because it's always a weird moment trying to make content in between stuff in the game. Takes me back to the old days of 2020. Also, shout out to us. Happy anniversary at the end of the month for
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Wow.
What kind of case do you guys get from LSS for that? I wasn't around for year 3 either. Is it lemon meringue or something?
Nope.
A nice T-bone steak.
Hey. Well done. Well done. That's
well done.
Oh shit. Fuck. Colin is not with us today. He is working too much, which sucks. So sorry.
You know, it all is also working too much. Zane's Wi-Fi is now completely fixed, and Zane's computer will not drop 5 minutes into an episode. So you will be seeing Zane this whole time.
Surely. We have a new router. We are powered up. The connection says strong, and we're feeling good. We'll see how long this these good vibes can last.
Hopefully for the whole episode. Zane, what is new in your life other than your modem and router?
Yeah, most importantly, the modem for sure. I beat the Elden Ring DLC, so that big time suck has been eliminated, which I enjoyed greatly. It was an amazing time. Elden Ring is amazing. You guys should all play it. But you already know that. Let's see what else is new. Not a whole lot. I just built Enigma in paper, and I'm building Riptide in paper, which we'll get back to that later in the
Yeah, that's flesh and blood stuff.
That's funny. That's like two ends of the spectrum there.
It is.
Zane,
Yeah. What's up, Blake?
are you gonna have me come over to your house when I'm there in 2 weekends? I gotta see this collection in person, man.
Sure.
All these mats in the background.
Yeah. There's even some more mats under my desk. There was like mats I planned to get rid of, and then I like looked through them recently, and they're like earth mats. It's like the Tome of Harvest, the Channel Mount Heroic. And
Those
I'm
are
like,
coming back around. Yeah.
people want these again, probably. Maybe.
Yeah. There you go.
You can come to my spot at the Hard Rock Cafe Hotel or whatever.
Everything that is old is once again new. Time.
Decomposed, recomposed. We've sowed tomorrow.
Circle of life, etc.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool.
Anything new in your guys' life?
Okay. The Olympics have happened. They've come and gone.
That was a cool thing.
And I Olympicked super hard. I watched all the great stuff, watched all the not great stuff, etc. I will keep it to the basketball. So I watched the men's basketball gold medal game. I would say top 2 games in my life all time that I've ever seen, either in person or on video. Just the magnitude of the whole thing, right? Like, we're playing France and it's in Paris and it's a rematch of the last time we were in the gold medal game. And it's also pretty much the last time we're going to see LeBron, KD, or Steph, like probably in like a really high stakes championship game. Like, the Lakers are going to suck and the Warriors definitely going to suck. And who knows about the Suns? Maybe the Suns will do something. Who knows? Might get traded, etc. So this is kind of, and it's like Curry's my all-time favorite player. This is his one chance to get a gold medal. And the fact too that the way the Olympics is set up, or like how this kind of goes down, is really reminiscent of like how high school basketball is. Because like at high school basketball, which I am super familiar with, the like other team's gender and your other team, you know, like the women's teams are there. I don't know why I'm saying that weird, you know, to like watch the game. You're like student bodies there. And like there's a bunch of other Olympians there. So it's like very similar to the vibe of a high school game, because you can like camera cut over to the women's team, like, you know, on either side. And then just the way the game was played was just like, it's a little bit more physical. Everybody's coaching their freaking butts off. Everybody's playing their butts off. And then just for Steph Curry to freaking score 12 points right in a row with 4 threes and to hit the like most insane heat check 3-pointer for no reason. I think he just must have been so exhausted. There's this great screenshot too of him like dribbling away as he's getting double teamed to hit the like fading away rainbow 3-pointer, and LeBron and KD are just wide open on the other side of the wings, you know, and he's like not passing to them. He's just gonna he's the only player who can just hoist up a shot over 2 7-foot dudes and then swish it and like seal the game. And then, so that was amazing. And now this is the background on my phone. Night, France. So that was awesome. And then the next morning, woke up, watched the women's game, and incredible game. What a grinder. insane for your best player.
What a grinder, actually.
Yeah, and then we're going to pivot into that talk. For your best player to hit a 3, to cut it to 1, and then you have to make free throws, go the length of the court in 3.8 seconds, and then get it to your best player who just hit a shot again, and for them to make the buzzer beater, but then their toes on the line is crazy. Like, I've never seen that before, you know? Like, I was so close. I guess KD was really close to winning one time when his like size 42s touched the 3-point line. But the Olympics were great, and it's so awesome that women's basketball is 61-0 in the Olympics. 8 gold medals in a row, undefeated, have not lost a game ever. It is amazing. And I went on Facebook for some reason today. And that, you know, that was wrong right away. And a person who at this point is like, you know, kind of used to be my friend, was just going off about the women's game, and it was just
layups or what?
Just like kind of, well, not kind of racist without being racist, you know, and then being really extremely sexist, and kind of like those arguments unexceptional people make about exceptional people because they're so unexceptional. You know, they're like, they're not even like really playing the game that well. And I'm like, dude, the distance between you and these women is so vast. You could land multiple fucking planes in it, you know? Like, me as a as a former college athlete in my prime would get fucking smoked on the women's Olympic gold team. Smoked. Like, no questions asked. So if you're going to fucking complain about Griner and that she's awkward and tall, it's like, bro, this woman has won every championship possible, and it would crush you like a fucking bug. So don't try to talk to me about fucking her being like, not allowed to, shouldn't be there because they fucking had to spend almost 300 days in prison in fucking Russia for a little bit of weed, that because they committed a crime, they should still be paying some time. It's like, how much time do you want to go to fucking Russia for a little bit of weed? Anyway, shut the fuck up. Also, don't then suggest that all of these other players who are better, who have a different color skin, are
I can
like
unadd you
way
from
better.
Facebook. I'm sorry.
God, I got fucking heated. I'm sorry. I was like gonna leave a long comment about all of this, but I'm just saying it on the podcast. Anyway, my fucking point is, shut your mouth. You don't have a gold medal. You can eat dicks if you agree with any of these sentiments.
Hey man, eating dicks is not a bad thing.
Dude, you kiss and caress and suck on dicks. You don't eat them. Unless, actually, never mind. If you're into getting your dick munched on, then no kink shaming. Go for it. Anyway, this has been my Blake moment.
Jeez.
Thank you. So let's have the rest of the
Blake,
podcast
what's
now.
going on in your life?
I watched the movie Trap yesterday, which was pretty cool. I had a milkshake and a salad while I was doing it. At the Alamo Draft House. So that was one for me, one for them, you know.
What kind of milkshake?
It was vanilla. I was like, don't want to complicate anything. But the milkshake came first, and I finished it before the salad came. So that was weird. Why am I talking about the food? Because the movie was bad, but like this is my daughter, and my Shyamalan's daughter is the person who is the pop star in the movie. And it is kind of cool of like, have you seen a movie where there's this many people on screen because they're basically at a concert? But it was very like, what is M. Night Shyamalan doing? Because Josh Hartnett, the direction here is like, some of the weirdest dialogue, like deliveries, dialogues, like stilted delivery from Shyamalan's daughter, and like,
Could you do an impression, please?
Go find someone with a blue door, quick, if you can hear me. And you're just like, oh no, like, I guess if you're directing your daughter, you have to say like, that was good. I mean, and like the most famous version of this is Godfather 3, of like the best 2 movies of all time. And like in the third one, we have to put my daughter in it. And it's like, okay, so that there's no way that could backfire and be the worst movie of all time and literally ruin this person's life so much they're like, I'm not going to act anymore. I'll just direct. Oh wait, that's what happened. So like, but M. Night Shyamalan's other daughter directs movies. So you're like, are we just going to be in our Shyamalan pop culture for the rest of our lives? I guess that is true. And I feel like now that I'm getting to be in my mid 30s almost, I'm definitely at the point where I'm like, God, some of these people that I don't like for 15 years are gonna be around my entire life. Like if you hated Cher in the 70s, you're like, her career is only, there's no way her career lasts in the 80s. There's no way her career lasts in the 90s. There's no way her career, if you hated Madonna, like, and like, there's a couple people where like, I hate these people and they're just like gonna still be in pop culture forever. But that's what was it called? An unserious person or an untalented person complaint for an
unexceptional person complaining about exceptional people,
which is
about
why
how
I'm in
unexceptional they are.
Yeah, that's why I'm in Fab, because I hope I'm at least a little exceptional. Maybe,
you are to me, Blake.
Maybe I can't be unexceptional here because I am one of the 2 people that have personalities and flesh and blood. Maybe, but we got to cut this part out, but or maybe not. But yeah, I think that's something too, where I guess what part we're at, we're in the tell about yourself. I went to the movie. I did have a thought process recently where I was like, a life update was Fab needs more creative people. We need to figure out how to get away from the math people and figure out not the music people, but like we need some like creative people that do stuff like off the wall or like think about the game in a fun way, because that will help us get through the month of nothing that we have 3 times a year, because we're all used to games getting 4 sets a year for Pokemon, 4 sets a year for Magic's now like up to 10, but like 3 sets a year means 3 months of the year is a doldrum time, or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but like there's a break, and we're currently in the middle of this break, and at least the people in California have a ProQuest Plus this Saturday to play in, and then we have a Battle Hardened 2 Saturdays from now.
Part of California has a ProQuest Plus to go to. Okay.
Wait, you're not flying in?
No.
Oh, the other thing, my friend came in from Miami and slept on my couch. And then it was a whole issue of like, there's too many people sleeping on this couch. We got to get him out of here. And I was like, all the other people were flesh and blood people. This is my friend from like kickball that moved to Miami. Like
too many people at once, or like too many people are like staying at our house.
That part where I'm like, well, yeah, I have friends, bro. And I'm like, don't get hotel rooms. You can stay on my couch. Like that's part of the fun thing of living. I know I don't live alone, but
that's your Southern hospitality showing, you know?
And I kind of starting to realize that of like East Coasters are a little bit more prickly.
Shout out to the East Coast.
Shout under to the East Coast too.
Okay. Well, great. Those are all great updates. Now that we've all told a super long story, Zane, would you like to add anything, or should we just move into shout outs if anybody has any?
Let's just keep it moving.
Let's keep it moving. Blake, you got any shout outs? Or Zane?
Shout
got any
outs. Shout outs to my friend Kim. She had to put her cat down this morning, and she's texting me right now during this, so that's been throwing me off a little bit. But I will go over to your house tomorrow, Kim, and we can get breakfast burritos at nighttime. That's sad. But shout outs to also the people at the Armory in Turn Zero, because that was pretty fun last night.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you like that place now.
That's all right. It was fun to like, they were like, what does frostbite do? And I was like, what? You don't know what frostbite is? And then I was like, have you heard the word frostex? And they were like, no, what's that? And I was like explaining Icelander combos, and they were like, how does anyone do that? And I was like, have you ever heard of Crown of Seeds? And they were like, what does that do? And you're like, bro, here's another 20 minutes on Crown. And so imagine Oldham with Crown of Seeds and this stuff. And then this. So the whole thing is then you put your energy potions down and you're hoping not to get oaken olded. And I think that's something where like it's so much far more fun for me to explain about this than it is to actually play LL and get like owned by Oldham or Icelander. Okay.
We'll get into that. Shout out to one of our locals, August. He has really been psyched on the game. He's a Bolton boy now, which is pretty fun. And he's weaving his way into one of the boys. So I'm just excited for his journey, because we had Blitz the other day, Sunday, which I went undefeated as Arachne solitary confinement. And Levi brought Shiana, and we were like, bro, look at this. Have you seen this? Like, you don't know what this is. And he was like, whoa, that's a crazy hero. Same thing as Blake. So just new players they're just so cute. Shout out to new players.
Shout out to new players.
And it's his month.
It is. It's his month. Zane, you got any shout outs before we get into spoiler country?
I have no shout outs.
Jeez, likes no one in the world.
People need to work a little harder for a shout out.
Ooh. Pew, pew, shots fired. Nice. Fucking get after it, people. Okay. Spoilers are trickling in. Okay. Where would you guys like to start? Because we got some graphics here. So
let's start with what they started with and do plan for the worst.
You got it. Boom. New Ranger Riptide card. It's blue, blocks 3, costs 0. And it says, look at a target hero's hand and arsenal. At the beginning of their next in phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. Search your deck for up to 3 traps, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle 2 cards from your hand into your deck. Now, my favorite part about this is just shuffle 2 cards. It's not random. You're just like, here, these are the fucking things that are going to hose you, and you don't know what I'm putting in my arsenal and what I'm just putting back in my deck. But you probably know.
But you can't play this in Zelia and play like 3 traps, because if you play a trap and then plan for the worst, I can search only like 2 traps and then it's shuffle 2 cards back in your deck. Like you'd have to like have a buff or an arrow in your hands to put back in to get your trap. So like it clearly is only a Riptide card.
Well, also Azalea runs 0 traps.
That's not true. We played Tar Pit Trap.
Okay, sorry. 1 copy of Tar Pit Trap.
No. I played 3.
Played 2 copies of Tar Pit Trap.
Snowball's chance against Prism. Actually, this is interesting. I didn't really think about this. Like on turn 0, you could play this and then search 3 traps and then shuffle like 2 other cards away. So you could keep all 3.
Yeah.
That's pretty hot.
That's pretty busted. I think the thing people kept going like, that's not what that says. Because they were like, oh, it's pretty cool. You get to look at their hand. Or no, they were like, my friend Jake was like, Oh, I think it says like, yeah, it's the seek and destroy
Friend
thing.
of the
and then
podcast, Jake.
yes. How did you know?
Oh, shout out to Jake.
It was like, oh, they the seek and destroy stuff. And I was like, but you get to look at their hand. He was like, no, you don't. And it was like, it's like,
Oh
it's
yeah, you do. And
legitimately
Arsenal.
the first sentence or whatever. But like, that's the best peak thing, the best search thing, and the best like on hit without on hit that is existing. Like, it almost feels like this is a defensive codex in my mind of like how you could explain it quickly to somebody new.
That's a great way to put it.
It works well with codex too, because it gets them off Arsenal, which makes them soft to codex. Yeah, this is a wild card. Like the design is really crazy, but it's very fun. It fits the Riptide toolboxy weird character that he is in this game.
And it's like not too difficult to go like arrow with go again, then have like another thing to do, you know, right? So like if you happen to have like a pump and bolt and shot in this, you know, that's like a pretty sick ass 3-card hand where you're like, I'm threatening 7 with go again. And it's not another arrow. It's planned for the worst in your face, you know?
It does like represent codex, right? Like when Azalea does that to you and they have no tunic up and they have 1 card in hand, you're like, okay, it's codex.
Yeah.
But this like will present as codex, but then it isn't. Riptide, you know, doesn't have quite as many go agains as Azalea historically, but we'll see. We'll see if it becomes part of the plan or if it's just a way to get around stride and traverse. Don't attack. You just play this.
Pretty sweet. Where do you guys want to go next? Do you guys want to go to Mech Town?
Let's do Mech Town.
Let's spend approximately 1 second on this.
Okay. Adaptive Dissolver. It's a base mechanologist equipment. It's modular, just like adaptive plating. Cost 0 and has arcane barrier. Cool.
Remember, you can't play 4. You can only play 3 copies of a certain card. But now your opponent's going to have to look over and go, which one is that? Is that the block or is that the arcane barrier? And you'd be like, you're playing Runeblade. It's my arcane barrier. Like, get out of here. And like, this is now AB3 for our friend Teklovasin immediately. So I don't know why we had the in-between phase of all the 4 different ABs that you have to put in your deck and draw. If this was through the pipeline, not to complain.
You can play both.
You could play both.
And that one lets you get back Singularity, which is like...
Right.
And this is a base. So you start with it.
Because your things that you need to flip into our friend, the Necropotent, can go on these dissolvers.
Yeah.
Correct.
But by then you're probably... There's no way you're going to get to that point against Kano anyway.
But different wizards, maybe.
Yeah.
Are there new wizards coming out?
I think 2.
What were you saying, Zane?
It is weird that it's the same like art as adaptive plating. Like obviously it's not exactly the same, but that it like has a different border because it's majestic, not legendary. It's like the border looks different. And then like one of them is a base and one of them isn't. And it's kind of like there's no real reason that one's a base and one isn't a base.
Wait, adaptive plating is not a base? It's just like equipment armor?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm like
I don't
99% sure it's not.
I don't play deck. I mean, fucking mech.
I've been playing a little bit of
Because-
Dio just for funsies, and adaptive plating is really good.
Because Teklovasin would play 3 adaptive platings, and then as he's blocking with
You're
it,
right.
would
It's just a
punch it on top of
mechanologist
it.
fucking equipment.
It's weird. The whole thing is weird.
What is going on over there? Okay.
Teklovasin's a weird hero.
We're going to move on to some more feet.
We're not going to do this at all. Oh,
Flutter
Flutter Steps.
Illusionist equipment legs, the 500th, I think, legs for illusionist. They just love putting on different shoes. When this is destroyed, you may play your next aura this turn as though it were an instant. It has ward 1, and it's a majestic. Good, bad, who cares? Cool art.
It's not great, like on its face, but there's maybe a place for this in like a dedicated aura list whether that be Enigma or Prism. Obviously, yeah, it's sick in New Moon, but it has a home maybe, but its floor is so low that it's hard to see it.
What do you do if you run all of the? Because now there's like 5 pieces of equipment that all just have ward, right? There's the arms, the kimono, the headpiece, and
there's no arms that. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Wave. Yeah, so it's wave, kimono, diadem, and this. Yeah, just 5 life.
You just put those out there, and those all trigger and do something. Turn 0.
I mean, I think in a perfect world, you'd want to play these when you go first, so that on turn 2 you could.
Oh, shit happens. Yeah, there you go.
I also do like that it says you may play your next aura this turn as though it were an instant, not from your hand. I hate the cards that say like from your hand because they like prevent the ability to set up. Like this, you can arsenal the shimmers or whatever, and then as soon as these are destroyed, play it. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to like hope you drew it.
Right.
I don't know.
And
these are not going to make a big impact, I don't think.
I think legitimately what this is for, because you come to here for some actual exceptional behind the scenes. What I think this card is doing in Rosetta is we wanted to give Enigma New Moon the ward shoes, but if we had this in the draft set, even as a Majestic, it would have decided games in our draft format of who has the flutter steps and who doesn't, and would have thrown off the draft. Yeah, drafted.
Okay, gotcha. That's a good tinfoil hat. Moving on. Dun 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 dun. Splatter Skull, brute attack action, cost 2,
brute
defense
axe?
3. Brute attack action, because there's an axe in the artwork. Attacks for 6. It's a red. When this hits a hero, choose a face down card in their banish zone that was banished by an intimidate this turn. Put it into their graveyard. So you barraging beatdown, Splatter Skull. What up? Boom, Blake. Go off, King. Or just keep dancing.
Welcome to the fucking show, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Reinhardt card. This is not some bullshit. Oh, it's going to also be better for KO. Oh, maybe Levia gets some juice out of this squeeze. This is only Reinhardt, baby. And this is what we're doing with this shit is we're going to say, oh, we got ahead on some card advantage because but you get all the cards at the end of the turn. And that's usually what is bad for Reinhardt of like, I did a bunch of damage, but then they have the full hand to come backwards. And now they don't because the Splatter Skull hit a thing. And it says choose a face down card in their banish zone. So it doesn't say at random. So if I intimidate 1 or 2 cards and you do any kind of bad poker face of like, God, that's the card I wanted to block with. I'm going to go, well, don't choose that one when I play Splatter Skull. I'm going to choose the one they were like, oh, that's fine. Like I wanted to play that card anyway. It's like, okay, that's like, okay. So I think it's super funny of like, there's that layer of this card. Welcome to the show of like, why is this card good? We're going to claw this card on barraging beatdown turn, or what is it called? Blood rush turns. We're going to claw for 5, and then Splatter Skull is going to come in for 8. And that 8 damage, usually 2 gets in on that 8 no matter what. And you will have a card intimidated from Blood Rush Bellows. And now Blood Rush Bellows into this card basically says card advantage and like damage going through. And you're like, okay, like if both of those are true, you're more likely going to win. And this is a card where you're like, am I about to play Remembrance in this shit so I can play Splatter Skull 5 times a game, 6 times a game? Am I about to play these early and hope I draw my dig up dinner in the first 2 turns? Or then you can even get some bullshit going of like Awakening Bellow is a card no one has touched in 2.5 years. But it's I'm going to play a 1 cost. It's going to give my next attack a buff, and it's going to intimidate a card. And now pitch a blue, Awakening Bellow into Splatter Skull is a crazy use of 3 resources that we really have not done to have it make sense because of this on hit. And then this is the final one I'll end then with of what are you going to do if we say, I'm going to play Barraging Beatdown. I'm going to play Splatter Skull. Actually, I have one more and then after this. I'm going to play Barraging Beatdown. I'm going to play Splatter Skull. Pummel. And now you're fucked because you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to block this out or whatever, but you have an intimidated card. If you block this out with equipment, I'm going to pummel you. Now the card you didn't block with is gone. Now the card that's intimidated is gone. And now I have taken full bullshit on you. And if I don't draw 3 pummels next turn, I can now fully 4-card hand you, which is like Reinar usually 4 cards hands you after you do like 15 damage to him. So
usually after your first date.
True.
When
and
it's
BS. The final, and then don't forget this. Now we're maybe even making some cards from heavy hitters make some more sense of yellow Mighty Windup would never get into lists, but it's a yellow 6 and Mighty Windup or Agile Windup. I'm gonna throw Splatter Skull raw. And I have a card in my hand. What do you want to do? Do you want to assume I don't have this at instant speed? And then they go, no blocks, who cares? It's just 6 damage. And then you instant speed in reactions. I'm going to intimidate you with my hero power because I'm Reinar, bitch. And now the Splatter Skull I'm doing 6 to you and getting a card from you. So
That's
this
sick.
is...
I didn't think of that.
This is a cut down to size specifically for Reinar that blocks 3 that can get buffed by all of the plus brute things. And if you told me that before I made a BS tweet of like, the brute card's going to suck this season, like, okay, slap on the wrist. This is one where I'm like, let's fucking go, LSS. I'm going to get this as a mat. As soon as it comes out, this would be a mat that I would rush to do tickets for all day long. Like, first time all of us showed up to Reinar chat and we're like so excited about this. That Reinar chat has been dead for about 4 months.
It's sick art. Not only does Reinar have an axe, which is pretty sick, but all of his best friends in the background are cheering him on as he lays waste to this battlefield, which I love. So pretty cool.
Did I miss anything, Zane? Or is that pretty much everything?
That's pretty comprehensive. The pummel line is sick. The barraging line is sick, and the agile windup or mighty windup discard is sick. Like this is what Reinar's needed. He's needed brute support that doesn't buff the other brutes. Like he needed a card that was his, and this is just perfect. Like I actually really like Show No Mercy. I know Show No Mercy is a little bit divisive, but it wasn't enough. Like there's so many turns in Reinar if you play Reinar that you don't have a blue, right? And being able to be productive off of a yellow is like a big part of Reinar's identity, right? Which has kind of been lost. But like the 2 cost curve of Reinar is a huge part of who he is, and being able to be productive off of it with a card like this is sick. So I'm thrilled. Maybe I'll build Reinar again. It's a perfect card. No notes.
Because Awakening Bellow turns this into a 9 damage Intimidate BS.
Yeah.
And if you're playing a hero that has 2 blocks at all in their hand, which are going to be Rune Blades, it's going to be impossible for them to block it completely out. And that's only on a card in Arsenal, a pitch card, and 1 other card. So you could still block 6 or do whatever and throw that back is going to be, I think, like where somebody's going to be asking you, do you have any Awakening Bellows? And you're going to be like, what set did that come out? It's Welcome to Wraith. You just have never taken them out of your box.
Do you think Bonebreaker Bellow gets to see some play?
I hope so.
You know, because it's like the same play, but you just beat chest instead. You know,
it just requires you have an extra card.
Yeah, so it's like after you splatter skull the first time and you just keep this fucking shit rolling, and then you have Awakening or Bonebreaker Bellow, and then that extra card you have, boom.
It could. The blues very likely will. The blues already seen play in Levia as just unfortunately just a graveyard fill, but we start to see more utility here, which would be cool with the Intimidate.
Somebody in our Discord did say something about like, this looks like the design for Reinar for when claws are gone. of the brute club stuff. What's good for the club of pummels could also be good on this / play more grindy, get more advantage on your opponent.
Yep. Okay, we got 4 others we got to get to. Switching gears completely into Sigil Town.
This isn't
not
switching
even
gears at
changing
all,
gears.
baby. This is the
right.
other
This
Reiner
one.
card.
Sigil of Cycles. Right. Boom. Got him. Okay. Sigil of Cycles. Generic action aura defense for 2. It's a blue. Don't know if they're going to be a cycle. Unlikely that there will be a Sigil of Cycles yellow or
I mean,
red.
that would be sick if it was.
Cost
Discard
0.
3 cards.
Go again at the beginning of your action phase. Destroy this. When this leaves the arena, discard a card, then draw a card.
So I think one thing we need to know immediately is if you don't discard a card, do you still draw a card? If you have a 0 card hand because you block 12 and this pops, is it basically a ponder or is it a yellow that you could swing something with?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Is it the same wording as Phantasmaclasm?
At Patrick right now.
Phantasmaclasm, it works. If you have no cards in hand, when they Phantasmaclasm, you still draw.
Oh, I like that. Why am I excited for this in Reinar? This is because it's a blue. Reinar cards are kind of, the blue slots are like always like what makes sense for the best whatever. This could be I'm going to play this, then swing a claw. It's a bad turn, but it's a setup. And now if I look at my cards in my hand and they're good, I'll just take a bunch of damage. Is it not disruption? Sure. Sigil of Cycles. When this leaves the arena and pops, discard a card. I'll discard Beast Within. I'll intimidate you. And then I'll have my turn like I planned. And that's kind of busted of starting with an extra intimidate. Is like, you could be doing crazy combos that you have never been doing before. And
confirmed by Patrick, the internet's favorite judge, aka German Shepherd judge. You do draw a card if you have no cards in hand still.
That's
Love
actually
it.
sick.
That's like really good. It's like really good. For
and
everybody.
if you draw this off a Blood Rush, it's a blue that you can swing stuff with. So it's not even like screwing up your Blood Rush turns.
Yeah, it has go again, so you can cast it. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Really good. Okay, next sigil. Boom. Sigil of Findal. Blue, blocks for 2, has go again. It's generic. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, gain 1 life.
Boring.
This is fun.
It's fine.
It blocks for 2, but you gain a health. Why would you play it ever?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no it's crazy that this and Cycles are the same template because 1 life and a card are not equal at all. You know,
Well, there's benefits to
one's
having
rare, I guess.
cards that say sigil in play, right? Like
Right, makes your
Volzor.
Volzor cheap.
Oh, my
Yeah.
balls are so cheap.
But then
bro.
it's also like not a card, not a lightning card. So then it doesn't buff that. And then I suppose with Verdance, after you've decomposed and become compost, after your compost, this is deal 1 arcane at the beginning of your turn and gain a life.
Like it definitely has synergy that we don't know yet, but it has a place. It's just not clear what that is yet. Right now, it just looks like a weak draft common. But
Or Verdant's Hero Power. Start that amp going now. Or no, it's not an amp, but like anytime there's maybe there's a Verdant's Hero Power, not Hero Power, but specialization where it's like if you healed 6 times this turn, you just win the game. You're like, oh shit, 3 sigils of Findle.
I hope not.
Summon Earther, the Earth Demon.
Oh my God.
Next sigil. Boom. Sigil of Deadwood. This art is dope. We're also showing the regular art, not the advanced art, just because the images were better. Blue. Blocks for 2, cost 0. Rune Blade action aura. Go again. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, create a rune chant token. So if you have composted, if you're compost, then you will make 2 rune chants if your name is Florian. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
And this
maybe
is pretty
French
earthy.
playable in Vincent.
Yeah, might be. I mean, she does like those things anyway, like, and it's less of a hindrance, not even a hindrance, but incantation costs 1, and sometimes that's a little dicey.
Yeah, it
Be able
means you
to
have to
get that
keep
out.
3 cards, which is brutal.
Yeah. So Sigil of Deadwood is a little bit better in that regard. Is
And
that
it's blue.
Yeah.
Arco's hard. It's interesting.
Shout outs to Vincent.
Shout out to Vincent for real.
For real. I mean, yeah. Runeblade loves non-attack actions that have go again. So there we go. Next sigil. Anything else about Deadwood? Nope.
Cool art. Cool art. Cool art.
Cool art. Great snack. Great Deadwood. Sigil of Sanctuary. This is an earth instant. It's a blue and it doesn't block. And it has a brand new keyword, Arcane Shelter 1. If you would be dealt arcane damage, destroy this to prevent 1 of that. When this leaves the arena, create an embodiment of earth. So it's like ward, but only for arcane. And it's like spell void, but you can't trigger it on your own. Kind of cool. I think that's a cool new way to block arcane. And it means
it'll just sit there. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. Yeah, it'll sit there as long as you need. That's cool.
Yeah. And
Which
you
is
won't.
interesting to me because embodiment of earth helps you block defense, like a physical. Arcane Shelter literally can only prevent arcane. So this is only half good into the entire field, but it's so good into rune blades.
Yeah, super good. You're
Yeah, like the
oh,
one rune chant and then 4 physical. And then
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, Arcane Shelter 1, block 4 with my non-attack.
yeah, boom, done. Suck it, bro. It's pretty good. And the art's good.
And the art's sick.
Art
Yeah.
is sick.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's also really interesting that it's, well, obviously Arcane Shelter 1, so potentially we could have Arcane Shelter 2, Arcane Shelter 7, you know? Those could be cards they print. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Arcane Shelter 10.
10,000
Which I think
years.
that is, I mean,
What's
I just
up
think
with
that
the
is
reviews?
interesting, right? Is that those things are then make it so when you play, right? Kind of like how Ward works, right? Where you're like, oh, you have Ward 5 on that one card. Well, here's my 1 power attack,
Mhm.
you know, with go again. And now you got to deal with that. So it can be the same thing for Arcane Shelter 3, right? Is here's my 1 arcane, or Arcane Shelter 4 or something, you know. So could be some interesting back and forth there with that. And those are all the spoilers. Any other thoughts?
Am I excited? I think one thing that I wanted to say was like, I went to the Tales of Aria pre-release in Vegas.
Vegas.
The world premiere.
Sir.
I went
Premiere.
to the Uprising one in Vegas. They did it. Thank you for 2 years in a row. And am I jealous of people in Rosetta, or am I more like, oh damn, I didn't realize like having some part of your spoiler season not be like for everyone, or like it's gonna be super cool for the 800 people that are in Florida. It's like, I don't know, because then I lose out on like, oh, I'm super excited about the Majestics here, and like, or I can't wait to do this, and then it's like, I almost want to like not go in a coma, that'd be insane, but I almost want to be like, I was so busy scrapbooking that whole weekend, or I was working on my dad's car's engine. I don't even have scrapbooks or dad, but like it's like find something you can do for 3 days that you are not paying attention to Rosetta, and just come back to all the spoilers on Monday, because you're just going to pain your soul that you didn't drive, fly, train to one of the best states in America to do that in.
Yep. Missing the world premiere is maybe a bummer, but I don't want to go to Florida, and it's at a bad time. So
I will be in a wedding that weekend. I'll be in my brother-in-law's wedding, which is very exciting. I probably would have gone if it was a different weekend, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think maybe I would have preferred them like say, okay, we're gonna save the legendaries and like not the majestics or something like that. Because I think like the majestics are a lot of the interesting like hero identity. And then the legendaries are just like the power pieces that bring it together. Like Zen still makes sense without Traverse, right? Like Traverse just raises the ceiling, but like he makes sense once you see, you know, Chase the Tail, if you understand how Bonds of Ancestry works. So I don't know. I think like maybe they are holding too much back, but we'll see what actually plays out. I know they said that they're not going to spoil like a huge number, but we'll see what that number actually is. But I do think that legendaries and like the Fabled not being spoiled is like kind of lit.
Yeah. I like it.
I just want to know Verdant's wand, bro. Show me the staff.
True.
Yeah.
Florian's Rosetta Thorn 2.
Yeah. I'm going to guess it's Rosetta? The Blade of Autumn. We already have that. Autumn's Edge. Damn it.
Is he gonna like is he gonna like banish cards with his weapon to like give it plus?
Bro, if he banishes like his own cards. Okay.
Like it's like it swings for 2, but then if you banish an earth card, it gets +1 or something.
We've never like banished from pitch. That would be cool. Like if the card you use to pitch for this, you can banish the card from pitch.
That would be tricky.
That'd be weird.
That would be weird.
That's a bad idea, Blake.
That would be weird when cards like Channel like Frigid get into play, right?
But that's why it's like you can't play Channel and swing your weapon because they're not there to flow, bro. I'm balancing your hero. I'm actually not busting it. I'm balancing it.
Springs Razor. I'm just trying to guess at the name here. No, if Sparky McSparkster is it's going to be a Earth thing. It's going to be
you thought
Vine Sword.
You're too
probably
slow.
What it's going to be. It's not going to be anything cool. It's going to be Vine Sword.
No, it's going to be like Thistle.
The clouds are covering me.
Thistle Stabber.
Rotwood Harbinger. What a name. I'm excited for Florian. Which is funny because I did not care about the Earth at all until Tales of Aria. Like, get Briar out of my face. I don't care about Briar. And then when I played Oldhim, I played like, you know, heavy ice Oldhim, like main board Stalagmite, you know, like as soon as Whale got banned, I was like, I'm out. And like, because I loved Ice React and I loved like the interaction of Stalagmite Crater Fist on a Snatch or whatever. But once that was gone, like Earth Titan's Fist Oldhim, like that was like the worst. And so basically Earth was always lame and now Earth is lit and that's cool.
Hell yeah. Earth is lit. The Earth has always been lit. So that I think moves us pretty well into kind of our main topic ish, which is just this hodgepodge. You know, we're just going to talk Fab and shit. So one of our first things up on the Google document that we write on, part of our lore, is LL, Living Legend format, good or bad. I will go first because I'm talking and I can say that. I had no opinions about LL. But then I was like, I don't know. People started talking about it a bit more. They announced the calling, which worked, you know, and I put together Chain again. And I played some LL games and I was like, dang, Runeblade is fucking sweet. This is a muscle I have not flexed in a while. Oh, I have Gogan on this attack? Yeah, I got some extra resources. Of course I'm gonna freaking Spellbound Creepers and then throw in this non-attack action that also has Gogan. Now I have 2 action points. This is freaking awesome. Oh, Rosetta Thorn? Right. It does 2 and 2. Oh, it's turn 6? You're right. I have 3 cards in hand and they're blues. And here are 7 cards I've been saving and have now to play with. It was great. It was awesome. So not only did LL get me psyched on Rosetta again, so now I'm like pretty psyched on that set and excited to play Runeblade some more. I think it's a great format for me if it remains in this zone of I always want to play like more CC, but due to, for some reason, my dumb brain, I play assassin, and sometimes those you're just like, man, I just like don't want to play 15 turns and think really hard every turn because every decision I make matters because that's what that hero does. I just kind of want to like do something powerful, but not play blitz and have the game be over in 20 minutes, you know? So LL is a great alternative to CC as it's also a CC format. That makes sense? Yes, Jeff. Okay, perfect. So it's just like low stakes and it's really fun to revisit old heroes. I was like, oh, sick. I could put together old him now. Like that's going to be super fun. So I can just like tote around chain and old him. And then I can do what Blake's been saying. Like, hey, I don't want to play commoner right now. Chabam, here are these 2 LL heroes. Which one would you like to play? Let's do that instead, you know? And I'm like pretty psyched on that idea. So anyway, I mean, it's still like busted. Like I played against Starvo and he was just like, okay, crippling crush, 13 dominate, go again. You're like, okay, this sucks.
Only one.
Yeah. And then, you know,
then you give him one back with Codex. You're like, God damn it.
Crush the weak, you know, dominate. You're like, fuck, now I can't play
Husk.
little.
Husk.
I already used that on the crippling crush, bro. Has dominate.
Just take it.
Yeah, which you do. So you have to like put up with that shit. And you have to put up with like, oh, dang, I let this game go to 6 shackles. I'm like so dead, you know? So you have to put up with that stuff, but I still think it's actually pretty sick. Thoughts?
Okay,
Zane,
Blake,
you go
you
first.
next.
You go
No,
first.
I
Okay.
want
Compliment sandwich. Okay, here's the shit in the middle. It's funny because yes, I was the one person who was like, "Oh, you bring an LL deck? Is it a fun format for beginners?" There was some people at my armory that were like, "Wait, what does Oldhim do? What does Frostbite mean?" And it's like, "Oh, you don't know what Frostbite is?" Like, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. That seems super strong." So I can see the fear of missing out, FOMO coming around of like, I really want to sleeve up blank from yesteryear. That seems like a blast. And some people had some super fun with these heroes, but other people were abused by these heroes constantly of bringing a Rhinar or a Levia or a what are some other heroes? Dory.
Wait, let me interject here with that because I have that similar feeling and lived through that. But once all of a sudden you remove the fact that you're trying to hope to fucking top 4 your road to Nats and are just kind of playing at Armory, and it's like that's way different than like, oh my god, like of course I'm not going to get any of the cool prizes or top this event because freaking Chain's here and I can't beat that, you know, or whatever. That's like not happening. So that feeling I feel like is not there. Not to invalidate your point, but I'm just giving my perspective. And you're wrong. So go ahead.
So I did make this tweet of LL feels like it is bullies or like people that made my life hell. And somebody, I'm in a Discord. I'm not unfortunately, but fortunately, somebody posted, went 4-0 on Dromai, fit like a glove, just did it like I used to. And you're like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, so some of these people in my local area are world-class level players playing with decks that have been optimized. There's no creativity of like, oh, if somebody showed up with a brand new Dromai build because like there's a new weapon or like Flutter Steps changed everything for. But now there's a new build for Old Prism. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Or like what are the Runeblade cards right now that came out where Chain could put them in? Oh, cool. But if it's the same old, where it was like, I just do 36 to you here, or like, I don't know. It's something where, doesn't that sound fun? No. And like the Chicago calling is an LL calling. Chicago, I have one of my best friends there. I was basically anytime there was going to be a major Fab tournament in Chicago, sign it up like it's literally 20 minutes down the road, like it was for Pro Tour LA. I'm going to go to Chicago because my friend lives there, and I would love to mix and match my friend and that. Spend a whole week. Oh, it's an LL calling. Fuck that. Like, no. No, I want to play in the main format. And like one thing that actually popped in my head, so after I say some negative stuff where I sound like a casual has no idea, here's the actual thing I'm thinking of if LL catches on, and there's a civil war here of other games have had, oh, I want to play this. And like we have that already with, do you want to play Blitz or you want to play CC? It's CC only. CC only. Well, I want to really play Blitz. I feel like I'm not listened to by my local area. And then now we're going to do this all over again with, do you want to play CC or do you want to play LL? And it's like, let's play JJ and meet in the middle or whatever. But like, it's like, is that the exact middle? That'd be crazy. No, it's not even close.
That's it. That joke was so bad. It was funny.
But what I'm trying to say is an LL calling means there's not 50 points going to a hero. Are we doing an LL calling in Chicago because we want Zin to last a little bit longer? Are we doing an LL calling because we didn't balance our game that great?
No.
It's time to think deeper, guys. Okay.
Should look into that.
Thinking?
Deeper.
No, it's just that's the kind of thing that somebody who would say, you should look into that, would say. Very Aaron Rodgers of you.
Oh my God. Well, he has a Super Bowl ring, so
it's true. Okay.
Nothing else is good, but whatever.
I love Chain. I love Lexi. I love Icelander. I love Prism. I love Oldhim. Give me a format with all of them smushed back together, and I'm in. It's so fun. Like Starvo's stupid. They know that. They restricted his most powerful cards. Is he still too good? Hopefully not. I haven't played it enough. But like my excitement to play it is like very high. And like when I think like we don't even have an LL skirmish in SoCal, which is like a travesty, honestly. Because like a lot of like SoCal's has had a big scene for a long time. Like we had good Chain players. Like we've had great Icelander players, Prism players, all that stuff. It would be awesome to have an LL tournament and be like very nostalgic. It's like, oh, that person's back on Prism. Oh, that person's back on Chain. But like when I think about like, okay, let's hypothetically say I had a skirmish to go to, which I don't. I genuinely don't know what
one in LA, but I guess that's pretty far, right?
It's Blitz, isn't it?
There's at least a couple LL, or maybe at least one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's news to me. Maybe I'll have to think about it. But like I genuinely don't know what deck I'd play. Like I genuinely want to play Old Prism. I want to play Icelander. I want to play Lexi, and I want to play Chain. Like, and I think that the format like lets you do that and just kind of like have fun is awesome.
And it's also like so underexplored, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, the Chain deck I just
literally
threw together.
The last 3 years of our lives. It's
no, but like stuff has changed, right? Like there are new cards that like Chain never saw. These cards,
yeah, like
that, he has
Eloquent Eulogy, right? Like you can play that. I don't see how you can't play that, you know, or I mean, there's freaking the Northern Winds came out after freaking Oldhim LL. Haven't even played with that, you know?
Remember when we thought it freeze Dory's Dawnblade to start, and it was like,
it was sick.
How dumb are we?
There's just, I think there's enough tech and cards, and like there's a whole Rune Chant Viscerai deck that's unexplored with Scalita. You know, I'm sure there's something to do there with a bunch of stuff, etc. It just I don't know. I think it could be cool. I think it'd be really cool, and I would be excited to see what it's like as it gets explored a bit more. You know?
And I think it will remain a secondary format. Like I hear your like concern about, oh, I want to play CC, I want to play LL, and that like causing division or like just friction and getting attendance at armories. That is a real concern, and like there needs to be some level of like care with that. But I think like CC will always be the primary format.
Because I hate to be an ass about this kind of shit, but like I have done this in the past where it's like we're gonna draft for the third week in a row, and I'm like, I already have my cards. Like I'm the one who went and bought all the cards and made sure I had my CC deck ready to go for the new hero. And I'll be like, well, I'll show up an hour late. If anybody O2 drops their draft and wants to play CC, I'll be there, and I'll be there to trade cards, but I'm not going to play draft a third week in a row for a brand new set. And like, if it was like this Tuesday is going to be LL, it'll be like, I guess I'm going to make croissants at home or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, because maybe I could find a way to enjoy it, but then I become an LL zombie or something, or like I don't want to play against Stromae ever again. The fact that there is a layer of you will be playing against Stromae again, like that's why I shouted from the rooftops.
Yeah, but you can
when
just
she
play
left.
busted Zane and just fucking poop on their face.
Dude, how many
Just
ninja
play
cards do you think I own?
Just play Stubby Fi.
Yeah. Or Stubby Zen.
Stubby Fi plays 0 legendaries. He plays Blossom,
I know, yeah.
Stubby,
Crazy.
Snaps, and Pouncing Links.
It used to be, I remember, shout out to Miles, at like a ProQuest or something, it just was a straight like 60 basically and new outfits. That was like his sideboard. It was like the 60 didn't change, but if he went first or second or the matchup, like he maybe needed to like play around some things with some different armor and stuff. And I was just like, this is wild. You have 4 chess pieces, sir. Hilarious. Anyway.
What is
let's
August going to play in LL though?
What? Say that again?
What is August going to play in LL?
Icelander. He's psyched. He's like, I'm getting all the cards for Icelander.
We have multiple new players who are like not new, but like players who joined after Icelander was gone, who have like talked about Icelander for months, even though like she's not been legal, like excited to play her.
Yeah. I would love to Frost Hex combo somebody. I know that's like not the main thing, but I love doing that.
That's a thing.
Moving on. Great job, everybody. Everybody at home, I'm sure, loved that discourse. First strike decks. Let's talk about those. Yeah, everybody hold on to number 1. First strike
decks. When do they
decks.
come out? Do they come out for us regulars anytime soon?
No. There were a bunch at Gen Con, right?
It's soon,
There's a bunch at Gen Con.
And word on the street is that those were flying off the shelf. People were super into those.
23rd
cool. Of this month?
Of this month.
Oh, sick. I can't wait to buy some. So yeah, they come out really soon. By the time our next podcast episode drops, we will have first strike decks. I think it's looking like a great product. We talked about the Star Wars Unlimited 2-player set and how good that is. And Zane showed me, that he's got them friggin' right there. There you go, on camera. And that's like such a great experience. And if the first strike decks, which it seems like that's the experience, is like a really well curated 2-player game, then that's a huge win and is a way easier way into the games than like
for
anything else
bucks.
we've had, Yeah. And the price point is really good as well, which I like that.
And the heroes feel and look like what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which like matters a lot in getting people into the ecosystem of like playing Fab, in my opinion. Like, and like talents obviously help that. Like a Lightning Rune Blade is a little bit more distinct to what they're doing than like Olympia is as Warrior. like there's obviously more you can do with Runeblade and Lightning art or Earth and Guardian art, but I love that they've made the deck very much like these are all Earth feeling cards. These are all Lightning feeling cards. They didn't reprint like Thunderquake or whatever, you know, like the whole thing is like flavorful and fun. Even the weapon, right? It's like Terra's weapon is like a little bit silly, but it's like on theme. And I think that's a hit. I think that's the right way to do it, especially for new player focused stuff.
One thought process about this is somebody like I've heard this from at least 2 different armories where people are like, can you play them against other blitz decks that have been like my Viscerite Blitz, that was awful. Like, or the blitz decks from heavy hitters. And like, are they on the same power level? And I think that's something where, well, those weren't called first strike decks. And maybe there wasn't, because weren't blitz decks like $15 to $18? So it is like weird that they got, they are
like some of the same. Yeah.
$10-12. Yeah.
Because it is weird of what is the difference between those and first strike? Is it just, nope, it's year 5 and we cared more about branding. And like, or from now on, every set will have a first strike deck of just like, there's a new purple version of that Star Wars where it's Mandalorian versus the guy from Breaking Bad, Giancarlo. And it's like, okay, like.
I have it right here. Admiral Mahdi? Is that who that is? No. It's Moff Gideon or whatever. Moff Gideon. Terrible name.
John Carlos Benito, I think. And so it's like, okay, if I buy all the first strike decks, there's somebody local too who's like, I'm buying all the Armory decks and keeping them sealed as like a collector thing. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then he's like, but I had to buy 2 for Azalea because I want all the Riptide cards. So I was like, there's people that are participating in this game way differently than you. There's people that are participating in this game to like do different things, or I don't want to go to TCG Player. I feel like that's such a thing where if you've been doing it for 20 years, you don't realize that there's some people that like, hey, that's not somebody I trust, or like it's hard to get old cards because I just want it to be local, or like those people exist. And this is a starter point of like, do you want to ask some random people for blue lightning presses, or do you just want to get it in your box for Aurora's first strike deck?
I think also the difference, right? So like blitz decks historically are the heroes from the newest set, you know?
Right.
And that maybe that design space limits you on how balanced or whatever those decks can be. And maybe because first strike is like not a blitz deck, we're just using 2 heroes at random. They could be anybody. Even though one of them is in Rosetta, maybe that's a better design space to just design heroes that are meant to battle each other, you know? So maybe we will see that. We won't even see one of them being one of the heroes in the next set or something like that. Maybe we'll revisit some old heroes. Maybe we'll have Phi versus Dorinthia. Well, they already used Dorinthia. Phi versus
a new ice hero.
Yeah, or something like that. You know what I mean? And as first strike decks. So that might be a reason they are rebranding this type of product or something like that. So I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And it looks good. I will actually pick those up. Also, our Azalea decks came in today. It worked, complaining on the podcast that we weren't getting any Armory decks, and then Azalea ones showed up at our LGS. So isn't that great?
It worked as in serendipitously, or somebody was like, I heard on this podcast and they got to get it.
Either way, who knows? Probably complaining worked just as well as shouting the Attack Action podcast wherever you are helps grow our numbers. So that's pretty fun. Speaking of Armory decks too, are they working as intended.
It sure
So I
seems
think-
like it.
I think this is where I'll be the most excited for, besides the Reinhardt card from earlier. It is hard to get new players to play this game. I have put a lot of effort in doing that over the last 3 years of grab my deck, here you go. Some of them are like super excited about it and be like, can I borrow this deck again? Great. But this is the first time it's like, just go over there to the register, spend $40. Do you like the green guy, or do you like the guy that is going to use the light deep in his heart? Or are you going to grab the hot girl with the bow? And like the hot girl with the bow, you actually put those cards in this green man. Let me give you this guy. Okay, here you go. And like all three of those, I went to an armory last night where it was 3 Riptides are playing because they have Stone Rain soon. Or whatever. Like, we need the Stone Rain. Everyone was playing Stone Rain last night. And you're like, oh shit. Like, why are people playing Riptide? Well, it's good now. It's a good deck. Take that. And now it's more, and like, am I building that deck to try and, let me see if I can use this to surprise people, because maybe they don't know that. And that's my favorite thing, is like, I got to close the gap of my expertise versus the Chris Iales of the world of like, maybe he hasn't seen this yet. Instead of he knows my entire deck list because it's his deck list that I'm building his whatever, the Iale 80 or whatever. But like, it's something where both armories I went to, somebody unsleeved the Bolton deck, or opened up the Bolton deck, sleeved it in Star Wars sleeves, and was like, all right, I haven't played this game in 7 months, but here's my armory deck. Let's go. And it was like, do you have a gym ID? And it's like, what's that? And you're like, okay, like this energy has not been around at all for at least for years. Of like, maybe people were doing that whenever it was like the beginning of like 2021 of like, nobody has decks. Actually, we're all playing sealed and draft over and over again till we get enough cards, because that's not how the supply is going. But it truly feels like both armories I went to this week, there were multiple players who both stores had the decks in stock. Both stores had people that, I bought this new armory deck. I don't know how it quite works, but I'm excited to try it. Great job, LSS. We can talk about the power level of the cards for whatever later, but it is interesting. It is working for brand new players that are excited to play this game with that entry point.
Yeah, I fully agree. We had a similar experience this last week where like a new player, no gem ID, didn't know what the Fab website was, but had bought a Bolton deck, and he's like, oh, can I play this in Blitz? And we were like, yes, kind of. Let's adjust it down and then you'll be fine. And, you know, still learning the rules, and maybe Bolton's not the best hero to learn the rules on. A little bit tricky. But like the concept of the armory decks are clearly working as intended. And I'm excited to see that continue. And it's also a clever way to, support heroes that need support. Like they're selling the Azalea armory deck because maybe Azalea is a little bit more popular, or like easier to relate to off the shelf. Sure. And then, but they're supporting Riptide. Like, that's not a secret, right? Like the gloves, the boots are better in Riptide than they are in Azalea. The pump and the arrow are better in Riptide than they are in Azalea. But it can be both, and they can discover that in their own way, you know, if they want to, or they can just play Azalea. So I don't know. I think that it's a great product, and I think it's a shame that there's not AB1. My goodness, like it's good that Azalea has it, but like the Bolton player got paired into Emperor, and then it was like, okay, like you have no meaningful way to interact with the main thing that this hero's doing. That's a shame.
And that's the weird thing too, right? Between the First Strikes and the Armory decks, like there's a tiny sideboard in the First Strike decks, but there isn't one in the Armory decks. And it would be fun. It would be okay. I mean, I don't know what the price point is or the margin is if you add 5 cards to the deck, you know, that are like in a little pamphlet that says, hey, these cards go on your sideboard and you would want to play them in these scenarios, you know?
Yeah, that's probably a miss. I think that the cost is not high. I think the reason they did it is to prevent confusion, but it's confusion that can be avoided.
And it would be like Bolton usually you want to pitch a blue to deal with AB, and it'll be like, what's a blue if you're in that Bolton deck?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, you just have a little tiny one pager that's the size of a card, and you could print front and back.
The Reinar Intimidate card.
Yes, that, right? So we have that. So if for some reason you and your friend bought Armory decks and are at the kitchen table and don't want to Google anything, you would have all of the information there and it would not be that hard. But if you're buy that at Armory and then you sit down across handsome ass Zane and you're like, oh, you do arcane damage? What is that? And then you would say, oh, in this deck are these 3 cards and you'll want to pull them here.
You don't need
That'll
them.
help you,
It'll be fine.
Okay. Then you sit across from handsome Blake and he'll be like, these are the 3 cards you need because I tried to help my new players out. And it wouldn't be that big a deal, and then you could throw away your 1-pager card that you have. So that would be my critique of that. But I hear what you guys are saying. We have gotten our first round of Armory decks at our LGS and we will see what happens. I probably will be playing 3 or 4 Azaleas at our weekly Armory now, which is fine with me. So
Switch to Victor. Become the beatdown.
Assassin's better into Azalea than Victor is.
Yeah,
I know, Zane. You beat me every time we play, no matter what deck I'm playing.
We've played like 2 times.
Yeah, it's 0-2.
0-2.
Small,
0-2 drop.
small sample size.
I had him down by 20 health and still lost his Victor.
That's how that works. You have so much life on the board with armor. Got to chew through that.
Got to chew through it. Like we were chewing through the content that Legend Story Studios put out on Twitter for Collectors Week. So if you don't know, this past week, it was Collectors Week, which I don't know if they've been doing that every single year. And I just...
This is the second one.
Have missed it. Okay. I missed last year. Don't remember it all. Not very memorable. But what they got us doing was talking about our collections and favorite cards and that sort of thing. And I loved that content actually. And it was a giveaway. So I was like, well, yeah, this is easy because I like this game. And it's something like I never talk about is my collection of cards. And I'm not really like a collector. You know what I mean? I'm not going out of my way to be like, yeesh, I need that thing. And so money is not a consideration or, I'll give up, these other really valuable cards I have to have this thing or whatever, But then because of that Collector Week, I started looking at my collection to answer those cards or those questions, which we're going to talk about. Favorite promo, favorite cold foil, etc. But I started noticing like, hey, I have like actually been playing this game for kind of a while, and I do have kind of a vast collection and some really unique things to me and things that I like that I've just been like, you know what, that's cool. And haven't been thinking about it as like, I got to collect that. And so I've wound up with a collection I feel proud of, but it's also very much me and reflective of my interests in this game and that sort of thing. And that was just cool to think about, like, right, Blake's collection is probably way different than mine. And I definitely know Zane's is different. And I know Colin's is different too, and that sort of thing. And I thought it was fascinating and actually really fun. I had a great time. End of sentence and paragraph. Enter new paragraph.
Zane, how did you like Collector Week with posting all those things on Twitter?
I thought it was great that they just like, whether it's engagement farming or not, which it was, but it was like in a fun and positive way, right? Like a thing that they don't often do, which is like, here's a giveaway. let's all post our favorite blah and then like see what everyone else says. And it's interesting. And there's like, I don't know. I think it was like, it was out of character for that, like their Twitter account. Like, I don't think their Twitter account normally like creates much interaction. It normally happens on, you know, whether it's like the podcast Twitters or whoever.
Yeah. Like the thing they do the most is like card of the week. And it's like, who cares? But this, I like read people's
card of the week for Collector's Week was Diamond. It was one of the coolest ones set so far.
I cared so little about that. But what I did care
one
about.
One of the card of the weeks 2 weeks ago was Shakedown. Huh? Whether you forgot about it or not, the boss you make pay.
Who cares? But I loved seeing everybody's favorite cold foil, everybody's favorite artist proof. Like those were sick. That was fun to read. Go ahead, Blaine.
I was just going to say the artist proof one is the best of the artist proof thread was so good. Okay, Blake, what did you think of the Collector's Week posts?
I did not
remember that we're being positive on this episode.
I did not participate. It is an engagement farm and I am not a vegetable, so I was not excited about it, but it was interesting, but like we're basically trying to advertise the game. It's like, okay, I do that already with like, I'll stick to my stuff. And if I feel like posting, not to be Debbie, but it is kind of like to try and win a thing is like, I used to do that of like retweet us so you can win a brand new pair of Levi jeans. And I look at those tweets from 5-6 years ago and I go, that is so embarrassing. Like, why did I think I was going to win a national contest to get jeans by retweeting? And like, so I have pledged to never do that again. And like, it was so funny because the first winner for the new Marvel was Kiki Labatt. And I was like, you guys could literally just drive it to her house or whatever. Like, what the hell? So I was like, okay, like, but I thought we're about to answer them all on the podcast. And that's fun of talking it with your friends, but like it's something where I was like, I like posting my Twitter the way I like to post my Twitter. So I just skipped that part this week.
Well, now you're going to do it live on the podcast.
Great.
And by live, I mean just in this recording that you will hear then days later. What is everybody's favorite promotional card? AKA a promo.
Okay. The one that I tweeted is not my real answer. My real answer is the promo Fate for scenes with the moon blocks. I love that promo. It was like mystifying to me when like I started the game because it like existed back then and it was very expensive back then. And it was, it was like $500 whatever. And I kind of like always was like, that was like the goal promo. Like that's the one I'll have eventually. And then they've come down in price a little and I've gotten lucky with a few like friends getting rid of them and stuff. So I finally have finished my set. And every time I draw it, I'm excited because I just love that paper scene art.
What was the one you tweeted?
I tweeted Yorick and Hummingbird just because I actually do love those, like that they mark those events and they are like, kind of like the beginning of like the real competitive play, like tier 4 circuit was like those promos. And I do love Yorick, but I don't use it very often.
For me, the ones that I'm actually like, what cards came from my LGS where I was like, oh, this is sick. And it has to be the disease promos for the premiere for Outsiders of like, oh, they're straight up giving us cold foils for free. And I'm going to be using this on multiple heroes that I'm going to play for a long time. And it is a like, oh, where are those? Like right now, I guess I am missing one where I'm like, oh crap, where'd that go? But like, I have 3 cold foils of the other one. So maybe I accidentally traded it away, but like not accidentally traded away. Maybe I grabbed from someone's box and we'll figure it out on Tuesday, tomorrow, or in the future. Cause we don't know what day it is, but like the disease tokens were really cool. And
I got mine signed by James White.
Oh,
and
sick.
My friend Zane got his signed by James White, which is super cool. And like, I like that they're double-sided because there's utility, and I immediately put them in like see-through sleeves. So you just flip it over, and like What's cool is I do have it memorized. If it's like
They're double-sided,
Yeah.
it's
like cold
frailty and
foil
blood.
on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's possible.
Dude, I have them, and I have them sleeved, and I have enough, so I have one of each. I fucking forgot they were double-sided.
Yeah.
frailty and
That's
blood
so
rot on
sick.
one, and then inertia and ponder on the other.
Oh my god, they're even cooler.
So those are the coolest thing that I've gotten for free from an LGS as a promotion for showing up.
Yeah, those are on mine. They're definitely the ones I use the most, obviously, because I play Assassin so much. But my other one, I was thinking about it. I was like, what else did I get that was dope? That's a promotional card. My Ice Eternals, my playset of Ice Eternals, that was a dope promo card, which I really like because it's from the Armory kit, and it was a straight up upgrade from regular foils. And then I got those freaking signed, and they're like one of the things I love about my Icelander deck is when Ice Eternal freaking pops up and it's like, boom, man, it's signed, bitch. Just so cool. Bring back hero specific Armory promos, please.
Just playable ones, please. Like, why is it not like Venomous Bite? Why is it not, Harmony of the Hunt? Like,
Emissary of the fourth thing.
Dude, if any emissary gets put in a competitive CC deck that gets, I'll even say top 32 at a tier 3 or tier 4 event, I will shave my head.
you may want to be careful with that. The +2 one is like fringe playable in Fi.
That's what I mean. Fringe, bro. Fringe.
I'm just,
You got to get top 32.
It could happen.
Yeah, it's fine. That's why I picked a shave my head, which is fine.
Okay.
Not like chop off my foot or something, because that would be great. That'd be
I'll
crazy.
chop off my foot if an emissary.
all three emissaries in a deck.
Yeah.
Also, can there be like a side quest or a special extra token when you give somebody a disease, all three diseases, if they get an inertia, blood rot, and frailty, where they just get a mega disease epidemic token?
You give them a curse token, which is like a bauble that doesn't pitch.
There you go, and it just goes into their deck randomly shuffled.
Yeah.
So that's stuck in their hand or arsenal for the rest of the game.
Shout out Dominion. That's a Dominion mechanic.
That is a Dominion mechanic. It's pretty good. Moving on. Favorite cold foil?
New
Blake?
Horizon. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hi.
That's
New
great.
Horizon is my favorite of the like just classic cold foils, like from a pack. It just looks so good. It's probably the one I've played the most. Yeah, it's not even particularly close, honestly.
My favorite ones are my mandible claws of like where are they at? And bust them out, and then you go drop, and like I got them from my friend Craig Pollock because he was like, I really want that grandeur of a lie. So like I know that those mandible claws are probably some of the first cards that were in the SoCal area or whatever of our playing. So it is cool to like, these are from the beginning, and they've been mine for a solid 2 years now, since Everfest. And it is cool to always drop. And I don't know if they'll ever get banned, but it'll be sad. And then I'll play them in LL and be like, LL is a fun format because I can play claws again.
You see? Exactly. I was hoping to find right now on my desk somewhere, my Blackout Regicide. And I can't remember if that's something you pull or if that was a promo.
It was a promo.
That might be my favorite. I'm going to put that on the list, just going back. But it's so new to my collection and wasn't one I pulled. It was one I had to buy. So it has like less sentimental value, Yeah. But it's still like super dope that they did that also. My favorite cold foil, this is an easy one for me, is my cold foil Arachne, which was, I think, also an Armory promo, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And then I got that signed by a Swarty in LA, and it's so much sicker now. Marvel Arachne win though. Please. Come on. That art is so good. That's some of the best hero art. And that's why they're like underground popular. Everybody's got a pocket Arachne.
Get it tattooed onto your body.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
That joke's gonna be good for another forever.
Exactly. Favorite artist proof?
I think mine was, it was posted online where it was head, shoulders, legs, and arms, where it was like all four of them go together to show new, where it's like she's wearing the helmet, here's her hand with the glove on, the shoes are looking at, and like I think she had a tunic on, right? It wasn't Redback Shroud. Get out of here, Redback Shroud. And it literally looked like, here's my hero in the middle, but here's my hero actually as an art piece over here. And I was like,
yeah,
that's the future of like, because they were already doing that with like mandible claws and scary face, and now it's like, well, we're gonna do like the whole new meta of artist proof is, do you have four pieces that go together over here?
When they do that as a Marvel set, I will buy that. No problem.
That's what Bright Lights should have been. It was like, dude, you flip it over.
I was so sure. I was so sure that they had backsides when I saw the Marvel, dude, and then like the first time it got flipped over and it was just a Flesh and Blood card back, I was like, ugh.
That's the hugest miss, because we already, if the freaking Steel
Soul Memory,
the Steel Souls, if those had flipped. If the Marvel side of those was a full art of that, Tekla would be the dopest hero just from that alone. That'd be the sickest thing.
It would be really cool.
Fuck. My favorite artist proofs are two that I own. One by Haley Neighbors at Battle Hardened LA. Number two, I commissioned her to do a Arachne and Azuri fist pound. So they're just giving each other knuckles. And so I really just love that, and it just travels around with me. And then the other one is Already Dead. I guess it's technically an altar.
That one's sick.
And it's also by a Swarty over Already Dead, but it has Arachne dooming you with their finger. And I was gifted this by friend of the show, Miles, after doing decent on Arachne at the LA calling. And I remember him showing it to me when we were there day one, and I was like, holy shit, that's the fucking sickest card I've ever seen. That is so cool. And then he just like gave it to me in a private moment later at the end of the weekend, and like gave him an awkward hug, and I almost cried. And I freaking love it. I have it in not even in a snap, in a magnetic one touch. So it's even beefier. And I got to figure out how to display it because I love looking at it. Thanks, Miles.
Yeah, for anybody that's commissioning art of Reinar for me down the line, I'll switch back to him as soon as Splatter Skull is around, and I'll do my dead level best to get top 105 at one of these callings. I'll take him to LL calling in Chicago for sure.
You go berserk.
Got him.
All right. I have two. Since Taylor did two, I'll do two. If I had to answer one, it would be this black and white Azalea aiming at you. It's on a premeditate, which is cool. That I had it commissioned because I wanted a token for like to represent when my arrows have dominate. And so I use this like when the arrow has dominate. And I just think it's like, it's so good. It's better than I expected by a long shot. The other one is from another
long shot. Nice.
Another great artist who doesn't get as many shout outs, but Joseph Chu, met him in LA. Great guy, did Ragamuffin's hat. So Ragamuffin's hat, of course, always flips the blazing aether. So we had him breathing some fire on the back.
That's sick.
So this is another one that I haven't used yet, but I feel like next time I play Kano, I'm gonna bring this out for sure.
That's sick. Love that. This is so fun, especially because every time
Collectors Week.
we start doing the podcast, we usually do show and tell, like, hey, I have this thing here, you know. Favorite Marvel? Muscle relaxant. What's your favorite Marvel, Blake?
Okay, let me look where I wrote it so I don't say the wrong one. My favorite Marvel's I've literally only opened up one hero so far. Out of all my boxes and things, I guess there's only been 2 sets with heroes in there. Like the Angels are cool, sold them. The Dragons are cool, sold them. They have like the Illusionist players. I didn't play Prism immediately, but I played her later. But it was like I don't need to have Marvels. And so the only hero I've ever opened is Young Enigma, and that was like actually like, oh, this is like it would be cool if I had Adult New, but this is the one where it's like this is the best art from top to bottom, and like I literally built an Enigma deck just so I could, like, somebody was like, "Is that your hero?" I was like, "Okay, chill out, dude. I know you're new, but there's a card underneath
but
that
this is Enigma."
If you need to see the hero power, I'll show you the hero power. But this is Enigma. There's a brand new player with an Armory deck. He's like, aren't you supposed to have a... Yes, I'm trying to look cool. I'm trying to enjoy.
Feel the music.
Yeah, feel the music.
Feel the music. My favorite Marvel... it's also a twofer because I can't decide, but I really do like my Aswardi signed Nazareth. That is really sick. I love Nazareth. I love the idea of summoning demons, and I wish that was like more of the thing they did. Was like, I'm trying to get to this thing, and then here's Nazareth.
Give us a Vincent demi hero, please.
Yeah. Arachne demi hero.
Oh, that's probably
please.
really happening. Vincent does get a demi hero this year.
And that one I actually opened when I was opening boxes of Dusk Till Dawn with my wife. Cool. And we opened it and I was like, oh my God, Maria, this is like one of the most rare things. And we just opened it right here. This is so cool. I was so happy about that. But then I also recently bought Alt Art Galaxy Black. And I'm not sure if that counts as a Marvel. I think it kind of does. Is that like
it kind of does?
Thing? Yeah. But that was a card I remember when that was spoiled. I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest fucking thing ever. I hope I open one. Never did. And now because I work for public schools, I have enough money to spend a little bit on some frivolous cardboard. So now I own one. So I'm just happy to have that collection piece. Zane.
My favorite Marvels are very on the nose. It's the Marvel Codexes, all 3 of them. Like we were talking about it recently. It was like if I had to rank them, I think it's Blood Rot, Frailty, and then Inertia 1, 2, 3. But they're all like 9.9/10 out of 10s. Like they're so good. I know that some people are like, they look so different. I don't know. It looks like a magic card or whatever, but I just think
they look sick.
It's deserved, and they're like 2 of my favorite classes to play. So that's easy. But I did really like the Marvel heroes in the Europe printing of like the history pack. Like the surprise of that, like not knowing that was going to be a thing, and then seeing like Bravo and Dash and Kano in like full art was so cool that had to give them an extra shout as well.
Sick. Next up,
Collectors Week.
Favorite playmat. That's the last thing.
I think this is the actual thing where we were talking about collectors. Like, what do you want to do? I took a picture a year ago. I have the completed still of I Got the Show No Mercy, even though I hate that card. I'm wondering if I'm one of a couple or one of the only who has every single Rhinar mat, because 2 or 3 of those Rhino mats are very hard to get. And I'm counting Blood Rush Bellow as one, which is it Rhino mat? We'll see. But like Alpha Rampage is the coolest one in my opinion, but like it wasn't the hardest one. The Hero Power one is really, or the Hero Card one was in Singapore. I got that flown over. The whatchamacallit, Reckless Swing was in Singapore. Got that flown over. Thank you, John Zapata. So it's like 7 or 8 mats at this point. I don't have Reinhardt versus Dorinthia because it has Dorinthia on it. I do not count that, and he's young, so who cares? But like, I have a very specific whatever of this, but I'll take a picture again this week to go with Collector's Week Part 2 that we're doing so everyone can see it. But my favorite one is the only one I have in a tube, which maybe they're all going to get eaten by bugs, but I have Alpha Rampage in a tube.
That's tight. I like it that you have every Reinhardt playmat. I'm on the hunt to try to get all the assassin playmats. Get at me if you have Shred or Leave No Witness. I will looking for those fellers.
Do you have the Flick Knives one?
I don't have Flick Knives. I debate whether or not I should do Flick Knives because it's a slash card, slash ninja.
You need Flick Knife. Flick Knife is, I think, one of the most iconic ninja assassin cards, even if
That's
I can't
true.
say it correctly.
All right, fine. Okay, and Flick Knives. Those 3 I do not have in the collection. Need to get those. My favorite mat, it's pretty hard to choose, but because some of them are like nostalgic because there's some I just have that I like don't play with because I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up. And then there are some where I'm like, I like this mat and I want to play with it at like a tournament. And so they've like been with me. So I could maybe go on about all the play mats I actually like, but I think the one that's actually my favorite or like the coolest one in my collection is Colin went to Vegas #2 Uprising world premiere and got COVID, which is just a aside, but he brought
the
me
buffet,
back,
just like he got everything else from the buffet that day.
yeah, he brought me back a signed zoneless Nebula Blade playmat just as a gift, and that thing goes freaking hard. Nebula Blade is one of my all-time favorite weapons. I have the cold foil Nebula Blade, and so I just think that mat is super sick, even though I never use it because I'm like, it's too sick. Like the zoneless mats. So that's my favorite play mat.
I too have a nostalgic Runeblade mat as likely my favorite mat of all time. The first like real like substantial event that I ever won was a ProQuest with Viserai. And I played that whole event on a Whisper of the Oracle mat because it was the closest thing I had to a Viserai mat. But I won that PQ and I was like, all right, I deserve it. So then I went out and I bought the Become the Arknight mat,
Oh, it's so
which
sick.
has like been one of my all-time favorites. It's kind of like the Alpha Rampage of the Viserai mat, like from the early days. But just like the dichotomy of that mat is so sick. So that's one that I'm excited to bring back once Viserai is playable again. And then my second one, if I could pick 2, would be my signed Herald of Triumph one, because I brought that one to Worlds, San Jose Worlds, and got Sam Yang to sign it because that's the only event he's been to in the US as far as I know. And he said that he had never signed another one of the Herald of Triumph mats. I was like,
Oh, sick.
don't sign any more, one of one. But he just looks really good. His signature is so like distinct and like
It's
fits
good.
the art. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my Frost Ice Bolts signed by him.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, which is sick. They're like
I
my
think
favorites.
those OG like 8 mats are really cool.
Yeah, they really are.
good. Because it's like Glint the Quicksilver is also super tight.
Showtime.
Showtime
insane.
is super sick.
Lord of
High
Wind,
Octane is the best
Blazing
one for
Aether,
her.
Yeah, those are really, really dope.
Red
I
Ledger.
actually don't have a single, other than Nebula Blade, Monarch or like Runeblade themed mat.
There's weirdly not been that many. I do have 2 chain mats. I have Soul Reaping, which is like technically Shadow, and then I have the Urser mat, which again is like technically.
And there's like
Shadow.
Eclipse, and like I don't have any of those, which I was like
Eclipse would be
surprised.
so sick to get. Like
I had the Eclipse mat and then I sold it, but
Oh,
it was like $300 or something.
I sold it for like a little over 100 to
Jeez.
Ian, but
Hey,
yeah,
man.
Because how have they never had Revel and Runeblood as a map?
they have. It was an early prize wall map.
Yeah.
It's a good one, but it's
We'll get that. People
hard
are
to
going to be
get.
Revel and Runeblooding again. I think.
Yeah, that's sick.
Arcane Shard. So that's Collector's Week. I think for both you guys at home, not you guys, but everybody at home, and for Colin, what did we learn today? We learned that you have to have fun with Fab in different ways, whether it's take a breath to think about your collection and how much fun you've had in the past. Is it time to build a new deck like Riptide of, oh, wow, I am learning that Riptide I thought was busted because it beat the crap out of my hero, but maybe it's only good against that, or maybe I need to practice a little more. It's just have fun with this as a game, because we could have just been like, how's your playtesting going for a tournament, Zane? And you would have been like, I can't beat Zen with this deck. I'm going to throw this deck in the trash and I'm going to play Zen. But we purposely chose not to talk about playtesting for the tournaments we're doing, because I did that for 3 hours on Tuesday night and it was infuriating. So like, good Lord, hope those good cards come in, Rosetta, and we can just figure out some stuff with bands too.
Play Arachne Solitary Confinement.
He's really fun.
Dude, that has probably been, even if I had maybe gone, well, no. It was extra fun because I went undefeated at Armory, but it's so fun. It's such a good deck, and you get to play Arachne, and it's just another assassin, and it's like, it's just such a good hero power now to like give Bonds of Agony go again, and you're holding 2 other cards, and you're like, this is my first attack. And they're like, fuck, there's maybe this just is go again. Maybe those are 2 reactions, you know, or you get to go Prowl into Infect as a 2-card hand for 7 is also sick. It's just such a good, that was so fun. So do shit like that. It's great.
Build
keep
DL.
saying it on this podcast.
What were the 4
forever.
matchups you did?
Bolton, Shiana, and Briar. We only played 3 rounds. Yeah.
Shit.
And
Okay.
we won. And we won, baby.
Pop off, King.
Pop off. Critically popped off. What were you going to say, Zane?
I was just going to echo Blake. Like, we talked about a lot of nonsense, but just kind of circling back of like, the method to the madness here was that like there are more than one way to engage with the game. Like, some players are engaging with the game for the first time with Armory decks. Some will be with First Strike decks. If you've played a long time, you might have a collection. Find a way that's fun in this in-between time. Build a deck that's different. Build a deck that you think you don't like. Like, I've done that in the past. Like, I used to really not like Prism, like original Prism, until I built it. And then I was like, oh, this makes sense. I see that this hero does have issues, weaknesses, whatever. Just build a deck you don't like. Build a deck you think is broken. See its weaknesses. See it from the other side. If you
We have played each other where you were Prism and I was Bolton. I'm starting to remember this.
I
said,
also,
"Oh, no Raiden," and I go, "Oh, is Raiden good against it?" And it's like, "Yeah, it makes the matchup free." And I go,
did I say that?
I'm a combo Bolton guy.
Oh, we did. You're right. We did. That was a long time ago. Yeah, Raiden is quite good into Prism, and Sabers is pretty like winnable.
I think also, just to
That's true.
get this off of Blake versus Zane here. Well, I think another thing too, just to echo what Zane said, and something I've been thinking about, maybe, I'm ruining the end of this podcast.
Just start again.
Let's start all over. Is build a hero in maybe a different way than you would have, right? Like, we have Territorial Domain is a majestic in part the Mistveil.
Mistveil.
That is, you could play it in Zen. And
my buddy Ian
Block
did
for
really
5.
well at Canadian Nationals playing Territorial Domain.
Hell yeah, Canadian.
Canadian.
My guy. So just, think about that, doing those things. You know what I mean? So,
And
there's
you
a
can no
lot
longer
to
max.
do.
You can no longer max rarity decks because there's 58 copies of Kasai Command and Conquer. So don't engage the game with the max rarity deck. It'll
see,
never happen.
Or just
That-
play mech because you don't play any generics, and then your deck is 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah. The Command and Conquer with Kasai on it has a amber sand sign, and the card Command and Conquer says the word "and." So are those two distinct cards? And so you can have 6 copies.
No.
Only if you have $38,000. Like that is a thing where
But you could buy like a nice Honda Civic for $38,000.
or you could
I hope
just
so.
crush Riptides for the rest of your life.
Yeah, tomato. That's a hard toss up, Anyway, that's been our episode. Blake, Zane, thank you so much. Everybody who's been listening, thank you so much. Do the thing that we need you to do, which is tell a friend, like and subscribe, comment on our episode, join the Patreon, get in on the Discord so you can get the freaking Arachne Solitary Confinement undefeated Armory deck list from me. You're only going to get it there, folks. So join up. $4. Cost you $4. And then you know what? You can be like, Blake, I love everything you say on the podcast. You make me laugh.
Give me
And then
that
you say,
2/2 Levia deck, and I'll be like, I got you.
I got you. I got you. So anyway, do all that stuff. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll talk to you next time. Okay, goodbye.
Good luck, Colin.
End recording.